Adam Dowling. Adam Dowling.
3:45. It's World Book Day today, and I am thrilled to say I'm about to introduce one of this country's finest ever children's authors onto the show, the brilliant Michael Rosen, the man behind books like We're Going on a Bear Hunt. He's a huge advocate of encouraging children to read, especially on days like today, but he's also backing a new care library project in partnership with the charity Spread a Smile. It's a pleasure to say welcome to the show, Michael Rosen.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
Great to have you on the show today of all days. I imagine World Book Day is one of your favourite days of the year, isn't it?
Yes, everyone's talking about books. Everyone's dressing up as different kinds of book characters. People in schools all over the country are talking about books, and people like me, we love that.
Yeah, I imagine over the years, have you seen people dressing up as characters that you're responsible for, or, themes that you're responsible for?
I have seen one or two bears. I can say that. Sometimes they're Paddington bears, sometimes they're Rupert bears, and just sometimes they look a little bit like a certain bear in a certain book that I'm quite familiar with.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
I should say, by the way, Adam, I've come as a character today.
Have you?
I've dressed up as Michael Rosen, yeah.
Brilliant. I thought I recognised you. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Okay, right. I knew you looked familiar. That's because you're you. Right. Now, you are bringing us news of a project which you're very passionate about and involved with, which I think a lot of people listening will get behind. We often talk about the importance of reading, and World Book Day at its heart is all about getting children to read. But in this particular case, you're trying to encourage books to be more readily available in children's hospitals. Tell us about that.
Yes, so a charity called Spread a Smile have come up with this great idea of not just slinging books into children's wards or children's hospitals, but actually arranging for a bookshelf to be fixed in a children's ward or children's hospital and filling it up with books so it's right there and accessible for when parents, friends, siblings, loved ones, family come into the hospital. And we all know this moment. We come in and there's an invalid and we chat, and maybe not be able to if a child is in intensive care, but maybe that child can hear. And then we run out of things. What do we do next? Sometimes it's difficult to share a mobile phone or even to go on talking or singing or something. And there at hand will be a pile of books, well, neatly shelved books, for you to actually read to the child in question. Now, sometimes children, it's too much for them even to sit up in bed and look at a TV screen, or they can't hold a phone. And so you can sit there and just very quietly read to them. And that would be a wonderful thing for them.
And of course, we often talk about the benefits of children reading for, cognitive development and interaction with parents and stuff. But actually, in this particular setting that you're talking about, reading can have a whole different level of comfort, of emotional support, it could be a distraction. It could be a way of reducing stress, for example.
All of those things, Adam, absolutely. I mean, I had a big spell in hospital in 2020, and every minute feels like an hour, every hour feels like a day, every day feels like a week. The time drags, you are literally confined. And, it's no matter how nice, and, 99.9% of the time, the nurses and doctors and everybody, people bringing the food and so on, they're all absolutely wonderful. But, at the same time, it is, as you say, use the word stress and strain. It is distressing, it's upsetting in all sorts of ways. And if you can immerse yourself, if someone can open the door, I sometimes think when you open the cover of a book, you're opening a door.
Yeah.
And, if someone can do that for you, because sometimes even though you are in quite a passive situation, lying in bed, you don't actually feel like doing anything active. And if someone can do that for you, and it's also somebody you care about, if somebody comes in and says, well, yeah, I'll read to you, you have a sort of intimacy. There's a nice paradox here. It can be intimate because it's your mum or your nana or somebody who's reading to you. And yet the book is like miles away. You might be transported to Tudor times or to ancient Egypt or something. And yet it's an intimate person, an intimate voice doing it with you. I mean, I can remember that when my mum and dad read to me. There was something magical about the idea that it was your mum or your dad taking you to the world of Pip in Great Expectations.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, they will often associate those stories with the person that read them to them. You'll often, there are certain books, for example, that I learned at school. Whenever I think about them, or someone quotes a passage or a line from them, I hear that in the teacher's voice, because sometimes that kind of thing can stick with you, can't it?
Yes, and that's a lovely thing, because you were talking about the idea of the relationship involved. I mean, in fact, reading a book can create a kind of intimacy. If it's in the family, then it will increase, as it were, that intimacy. Yeah. And if it's somebody who's, let's say it's a friend who comes in and says, "Oh, well, yeah, I'll read you a little bit," and so on. Well, that will actually help construct the friendship, help build the friendship.
And in the case of the books that we're talking about here, the libraries that you're introducing, or the charity Spread a Smile with your help, are introducing to 13 NHS hospitals. The books come from, some publishers have donated, I know, haven't they? But the charity Emmy's Books is very heavily involved too.
That's right, yes. It's a charity that's reached out to other groups in order to help provide the books. And of course, you need a little bit of help, with the shelving and getting them fixed, and making arrangements in the hospitals for all that. So a lot of logistics involved, and we quite often forget that about charities, that quite often there's some very, very practical things that need to be done to make it all work out.
I think it's a fabulous idea. It's been a pleasure to chat with you all about it, Michael. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Anna.
Michael Rosen there, the legendary children's author, talking about the work of the charity Spread a Smile, teaming up with Emmy's Books to bring libraries, 20 of them all in all, to 13 NHS hospitals so that children can read.